Kriptic was
Happy
just telling
anniversary.
us.
Do you want me to buy flowers?
You can pay me. You can pay me if you want.
No,
Yeah,
you pay me. Pay me, damn it.
He doesn't get paid for the show, so I guess that's just one of the things that we have to deal with here. Anyway, so yeah. Now, Kriptic, you were telling us just a few minutes ago about. I'm sorry, I'm being told to end my BTR broadcast, so I have to go to that now. Mac Daddy Mike, why don't you take over for just a minute while I deal with what I have to deal with here?
Okay. What's going on, Kriptic?
Not much, man. Where are we at? How far did we get into this? Did all the fans hear it, or what's
You want to know what's going on? I have no clue, sir.
Actually,
I just got out of work.
I don't believe. I think that was the issue, was that nobody could actually hear it. So
nobody can hear it. So we're starting over then. We're going to rewind this back a little bit, and we're going to start it over. Okay. So the question was, how did I break into the business? And I told you it was going to be a long story. I'll cut to the chase, though. 4th, 5th grade, teacher asked students what they wanted to be when they grow up. Everybody said normal stuff. I said professional wrestler. In a sense, teacher and students laughed at me. Went through middle school, everything was cool. Went through high school, was a junior. Went to BOCES for carpentry and masonry. Met a kid who did backyard wrestling. Went to this thing where the guy did backyard wrestling, and I tried it out. The guy told me to go to the place where he had his ring. He made the kid made a ring out of wood. Made a ring, and it actually had the matting on that ring was like a gym wall, like how there's like that thick foam padding on there. No.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
That was the padding for the ring. That's what we bought. That's what I bumped on. It was back in like 2003, 2004, and I met a professional wrestler there who was helping them out and training them a little bit. I'm going to leave his name I'm going to leave him unnamed.
Okay.
But he showed me a little bit of stuff, and he told me where to go. He told me actually go up to Rochester. He told all 3 of us to go up to Rochester. And it was for me. I was going to either go up to go down to WXW for the Wild Samoans, or I chose Rochester, New York. I started training while I was in high school. When I turned 18, I came up like every Tuesday or Thursday for a couple months, and then after I graduated, I moved up. And September was when I started training, and I had my first match for Next Era Wrestling on March 18th, 2006, against Robert Ezekiel.
Okay.
So, that's how I got broken into the business. That's how I got broken into the business. And then I've been training and wrestling ever since, man. I've had since March 18th, 2006. I've probably had about I don't have my wrestling resume updated right now, but I would probably say 166 matches. Not a lot, but if you add it up, that's pretty much a show every weekend. So
that's quite a bit.
So.
Mike, are you still with us?
I am here. I'm just listening to the story, which I've actually never heard before. So,
I mean, and the things that I've done in the business so far, I mean, I'm very grateful for everything I've done. Thanks to Mr. Mike Ewing here, I got to wrestle Rob Conway as of recently.
Are you still with us?
That was a huge honor for me. Besides wrestling Rob Conway, I've wrestled Julio De Niro, and I have also wrestled Scotty Tuhati. Scotty Tuhati was my first name that I ever wrestled, and that was very nerve-wracking due to the fact that when I started watching wrestling, it was around the Attitude Era, so I knew who he was. That was somebody who one of those people who you idolized. When while he was wrestling in the WWE back then, he had these pair of pants that he must have bought from Hot Topic, because I had the same pair of pants. So when I was that kid, I fucking marked out like a champ. I'll tell you that. I was like, "Oh, you got the same pants I do." So
wow,
it was nothing spectacular, but it was just funny. So
Well, I want to talk a little bit about, and don't misunderstand me. I love to hear about your career, but I'm really interested in hearing your views on what do you think professional wrestling, the direction that we're actually going in right now on the independent level.
On the independent level, well, myself, because as of recently, I went down to Florida for the FCW tryout, and it kind of opened my eyes. There was a lot of good guys down there, but when I came back up to Rochester, and I see like I look at everything from a different perspective now, and it's hard for me to say. It makes me wonder, do a lot of the people in the indies care, what they're trying to do? Because, if they're not trying to make it to the big show, what are they trying to do? If you're going to make, I don't like people who are trying to just make this their hobby, because this is my life,
Right.
I put too much money towards it to make it so it's just a hobby. Too much time out of my weeks and years and everything. That's not spending time with my family or my girlfriend or anything like that because of wrestling,
Well, do you look back on it now and kind of regret it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely, I don't regret anything. Wrestling saved me, it's the one thing that's always been there. I've been in relationships that were really shitty, just relationships. And people, a girl will, people will say, "What are you going to do?" I'm just going to keep on breathing, man. Breathing for me is wrestling. I don't know anything else. I've been doing it since I got out of high school. I've never done anything else. It's what I'm good at, and I like doing it. But if you don't feel the same way about it, it's like, why are you here?
Absolutely. Now, do you consider yourself to be more of a I don't know, I guess a hybrid type worker, as they've often been referred to? I mean, what style of wrestling really suits you best?
I don't say any particular style suits me best. I mean, I can fly, I can brawl, I can grapple, I can be technical, I can do what you want me to do, I mean, normally I'm a bad guy, so I can control the pace of the match. I'm a striker, I know that. I like to strike because they definitely connect. Just learning. I'm always learning. So I guess a hybrid type of wrestler would be the best way to explain it, like you said. I mean, because I don't know what I can't. I mean, if there's something I can't do, I want to learn it.
Are there any aspirations? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go. There was nothing special.
I was just going to ask if there was any aspirations of seeing you over in like Japan or Mexico, maybe doing the Lucha Libre series that I see on MTV all the time.
Absolutely. I would love to go to Japan. That would be something that would be huge. That's one of those things. But a lot of the days there's you got to look at it like this too. I mean, with the wrestlers today, you got to be really good to get over into Japan. And if they're paying you, you're Bryan Danielson. You know what I mean? Daniel Bryan. He's in the WWE right now. He's like the last of the traveling wrestlers. And if you're getting over to Japan, you're probably paying your own way over there. Quite frankly.
Well, it's funny.
Some way.
It's funny you bring up Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryanson or whatever the hell the kid's name is. I think we had this conversation didn't we have this conversation last week, Mac Daddy Mike?
Yeah, and you messed it up about 20 times.
Yeah, okay, one more time. What is this guy's name?
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan. So there really is no son in his name, period. They just kind of added that on.
Not anymore.
His real name, his shoot name is Bryan Danielson.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. All right, so this whole fiasco that happened with Bryan Danielson in the WWE and whether or not he was actually ever fired or whether or not he was just allowed to do these independent bookings that he took and working for Gabe Sapolsky and doing all the Dragon Gate stuff.
I'll tell you right now, it was a work from the get-go. Because in the WWE, if they release you, they give you a 90-day no-compete.
Absolutely.
He had no 90-day no compete, and they told him that he can finish out his bookings until a certain date, because I was just, I'm currently now being trained by Mr. Colin Delaney, and he was on a show with him. And he was on a show with him as of recently, and he was talking to him about it.
Well, do you think that if it was a work, it was probably the worst work ever? I mean, just for the fact that, you know, a work is supposed to make the company money, and I just don't see how, you know, WWE made any money whatsoever on that whole angle. You know, if it was.
But they wanted to. Yeah, but it kept everybody intrigued, and I don't think it. And it, even if it didn't make the WWE money, it made Bryan Danielson money.
Right.
That's what it. You know what I mean? So in the end, somebody was making money on there, because Bryan Danielson was taking photos with. I think Colin said he was at a show, the 2CW show with him or something like that, and he was getting photos for $10 a piece, and he had like a double shot weekend, and he already had made like $3,000.
Well, I know,
and that was before he got paid, because of all the shirts he sold.
His appearance for AIW in Cleveland was $1,500. I mean, that was just to appear.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, he makes sick money on the indies, man. And this was before he even made it to the Fed. You know, guys, like, he's the last of the traveling indies. You know, who else travels on the indies?
Absolutely.
Like he does? You know, there's people
other than Haley Hatred, I don't know of anybody. To be honest.
You know, I mean, there's people that, you know, I mean, I know that there's guys, that do this for a living and don't have shoot jobs, but I mean, no one has that kind of name that Bryan Danielson does, especially the work in Japan and in Mexico.
Yeah.
You know.
And I mean, unless you're on ROH or you're on TNA or in the Fed, your name isn't going to be as big as his is. He's been everywhere.
Right.
You know, he's
Absolutely.
Who else travels that much?
Absolutely.
I mean, I wish I traveled that much. It'd be awesome. So, but I got a whole lot more learning to do. You know.
Well, I tell you what, if I can make a living out of running the roads once again, like I did back in the day, I would do it in a heartbeat. I take that back. I can't say that I would do it in a heartbeat, because I did miss quite a bit of stuff over the years. And you just can't go back in time and get that stuff back. So, essentially, there's pros and cons to, having a schedule where you're constantly traveling. Would I want a job with the WWE where I'm traveling all over the world and I'm never home and I never see my kid? No, absolutely not. Would I love to travel and be able to make money at it and spend time with my family too? Hell yes. But there's got to be a medium there.
Oh, there absolutely is. You got to realize too, like, even when I was going back to this FCW thing that I did at the last month. It was at the beginning. It was the beginning of this month and the end of last month. They even say how crazy the different days are. At house shows you have it's laid back. You know what I mean? But at Raw, which is live, it's nuts. There's so many people there. And those guys aren't at every show. So that would be like one of those things where you'd be proud. I don't know what they do. I don't know how often they travel. I'm not there, but it's a different animal, man. It's not the indies. Like that here. I heard that so many times, man. Like they say things. They know what's too indie. And when I went down there, like, it's too indie. They said that. It's like, man, they know what's indie, and it's crazy how they know. They got Norman Smiley.
You have to keep in mind. You absolutely have to keep in mind that the ability level rather of most of the guys on the indie level is not that of what is in the WWE. And actually, me and Cassius brought this up earlier. There are people that are under contract with WWE and TNA, Lacey Von Erich, that do not belong. I mean, they absolutely do not belong there. And they're given their pushes because of their name or because they got some big tits or maybe they blew Hogan or however they got their job.
No, I agree. I completely agree. That's one of those things where you got those people who got lucky, got into the spot where they are, and they don't want to give up their spot. You know, there's a lot of guys who aren't that great. You know, if there was more ways to